Welcome to Motivation Med. Today we were talking about the interview of Robert Kiyosaki. Do you like Robert Kiyosaki? Do you think that he is right? Let us know in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the ring bell notification button to know whenever we post any new videos. The most obsolete idea is go to school, get a job, work hard, save money, get out of debt, and invest for the long term in the stock market. So why would you save money when they bring in trillions of dollars? The gap between the 1% and 99% is massive. You see, it's not just money. You have to step back and look at the bigger picture. So what do? In every one of us is a poor person. There's still a poor person inside me. There's also a middle class person, and the middle class persons wants security. They want a steady paycheck. And as a rich person, and they are all inside of us, except that it's not talk. If you're taught to go to school, get a job, and get a paycheck, not taught to how to get rich. If you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my rich dad refused to pay me, you say the paycheck was one of the most damaging things you could take in your life. Is the moment you take a paycheck, you are unemployed, and that's the mindset. So my rich dad never paid me a job. My poor dad, government employed nuts. You got to pay people. You got to pay people. And rich dad was not saying that the paycheck was bad. He says he didn't want to be a slave to money. So as an entrepreneur, rich dad folded. I just started a company. I don't need a paycheck. I don't need anybody to take care of me. If my government doesn't like me, to move to another country because they need the entrepreneurs. So the entrepreneurs, not so much the business. The entrepreneurs, really the mindset and the skill sets and the different sets of rules. You see, I don't operate. Small business does not operate in the same rules as big business. Entrepreneurs has a mindset first, a skill set and roles. And depending upon whether you are employed or a small business, the roles are different. The mindset are different. The skill sets are different. You can say one thing to somebody who has never been an entrepreneur and they thinking about making the leap of faith into becoming an entrepreneur. What could you tell them? Well, I'll just tell them the same thing that happened to me. My last paycheck, I still remember it clearly. It was one of the worst and the best days of my life. And I was in Puerto Rico. I was working for Xerox. And my boss gave me my last. It wasn't a paycheck, it was a bonus check. I think it was about $30,000. Taxable. It's only problem with a look at this check. And I went, so I was excited, but I was also disturbed. And so this other guy comes up to me, his name was John, and John says to me, you're going to be back. And I said, why? He says, because you're going to fail. I looked at him as a few expletive words because that's what he did. He left Xerox fail. He came back. I said, look, you fail and you came back, but I'm going to fail and I'm never coming back. And that's the attitude. If you say, well, if I fail, I'll go back to mommy and daddy, and that's what you'll do. So if you fail, That's when I became an entrepreneur because I had no money. I had no money for years. I didn't have a paycheck. But that's what my rich dad encouraged me to do is when you don't have this paycheck, you get hungrier. Smarter is a test of your character. We become a crook. We become dishonest when you cheat and steal. Or will you become a better human being? So really, that's the benefit of becoming an entrepreneur. You really find out who you are when you don't have anything. You always have to look at the big picture. Too many people look at, well, what's going to happen to me? When you look at the big picture, you're also gonna know that when something bad happens, something good is gonna happen. But you got to prepare for whatever is coming. If you think next 20 years will be like the last 20 years, you know, when you and I go to the supermarket, we buy a carton of milk. Well, let's check for the expiration date. But most people do not check for the expiration date on their brains. Instead of get out of debt, I get into debt. I just refinanced 300 million in debt. I went from 5% to 2.5% interest. I made a fortune. Every month, more money comes in because my cost of money has gone down. So while some financial experts are saying get out of debt, I'm saying learn how to use debt. So when I come back and surf in Vietnam in January of 73, the first thing my rich dad said to me was go to school to learn how to invest in real estate. It wasn't real estate, it was how to use debt and taxes. Debt and taxes make the rich richer. Debt and taxes make the poor and middle class poor. So all the rich guys, those who are doctors and lawyers, or those guys, they're getting cream and they don't know why doctors are getting cream. Oh yeah, they make him more money, but the take home is less sure. My doctor yelled at me, was happy. He says, oh, guess what? I finally made $1 million. And I said, yeah, go. This was 3 weeks ago. So I said, well, how much you pay in tax? Is 750,000 in taxes. So his net was about 400,000. That's not bad, but when I make $1 million, I keep $1 million. And the reason is because I don't make it by working for money. If you work for money, you're taxed. So that's why lesson number 1 of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, who's the rich don't work for money. What we do instead is we create business as entrepreneurs. We acquire real estate. I don't want to invest in the stock market. So the reason is because as entrepreneurs, I have more control over my income, how much I make and how much I pay in taxes. And because I am an entrepreneur, as well as an investor in real estate, I pay zero tax. So every time I make, let's say, $1 million as an entrepreneur, I immediately invested in real estate. I have a Florida one step up, so I put $1 million in real estate. I get $4 million on the bank. That's why I love banks. But the banks are screwing everybody else. Terrible, but it's good for me. That's right, you said when you print, it's good for you. But when you print, it's bad for people that work for money. Because when you print, savers get creamed, and people who work for when they get creamed. When they print, debtors get rich. You see, debt and taxes make the rich richer, and debt and taxes make the poor, middle class, poor. When we have obsolete ideas, we get obsolete results. So what's happening for most people? The idea of going to school, getting a job, working hard, saving money, getting out of debt, buying your house because it's an asset and investing for the long term is obsolete. The world was changed. The world changed in 1971 when President Nixon took off the gold standard and money became debt. If you're liking this video, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the ring bell notification button. Okay, let's continue. What if we get rid of school? Then what will happen? Would it be better if we had no educational system at all? No. I'm saying education is more important before just obsolete. You know, there's Moore's law. That's Moore's law, which states information doubles every 18 months. In other words, everything's obsolete 18 months. So, and this is a recent phenomenon. So when you come out of school, you're already obsolete, and that's why I'm the old guy. You know, I made my friends went to Harvard. I went to Harvard, so that was how long? 50 years ago. Today, the banks are charging you interest to save money. In other words, the banks don't want your money because they printed too much on it. And that's why this is bubbles and stock and bubbles and real estate. And all these people are dumping the cashes. As I said, in here, savers are loser and cash is trash. And yet people are wired and want a high-paying job. Well, that's an obsolete idea. Get out of debt is an obsolete idea. You should learn how to get into debt, how to use debt to get rich, and I'll never teach you about taxes. The reason the 1% way up here and the 99% are going this way is because when you print money, two things happen: inflation and taxes crashing, and any entrepreneur thinks, I'm just gonna make money. I'm gonna start business to make a lot of money. Because if we talk about they really have got to smell the roses, man, you know that's not what the real entrepreneurs are doing. Most entrepreneurs, there's 28 million small business owners in America. 24 million are what are one-person entrepreneurs. They're called non-employed entrepreneurs. So because that's what happens when people don't really understand what the entrepreneur does. So most big people are self-employed, but they are not really entrepreneurs. The self-employed pay the highest taxes and nobody tells them that. Yeah, it's also called the entrepreneurial spirit. But what we were actually talking about was, there's no such thing as a bad economy. You know, that's externally. You and I, we all have an external economy, but we also have an internal economy. And the willpower is to change our internal economy. So for me, I can see the good, I can see the bad. I don't really give a damn, because I'm going to be rich anyway. But the poor person with a poor personal economy, all they are gonna see is a bad guy, because they don't know how to make money in any economy. And the middle class person, they have a middle class economy. You know that what they want is a nice house and a steady paycheck, and a job and a car. And so when you take their job away to them, that's disaster. Well, since an entrepreneur doesn't have a job anyway, it's not big deal. So all I'm saying to people is what Bucky Fowler told. Let me as always two sides, you know, and mean, you know, to use plural meaning too. So if you think the economy is bad, it's because your economy is bad. If you think that steady, employment is important, then you will see an economy without jobs. Your economy versus the externally got it, where you control versus where you can't. I can control the let's call. It is called an internal focus versus an external focus. So the real entrepreneur has an internal focus. But if they fall down, they say, oh, this is good because I'm gonna go up higher. The average person will fall down. So I'm going to take some Prozac, or somebody has a mistakes. All the mistakes don't matter what mistake. Mistake matter means you didn't know something. But the real entrepreneur, and whether they fall down, they go. They are always can go on. They can stand back up and go higher. And no matter what happened to them, they get stronger and better and smarter and happier. But person with a weak internal mindset, because they are so afraid of what happens, it generally happens. Like, people are afraid to losing their jobs. The job made lose for jobs. So it's that so. So the entrepreneur first job is control inside here, not outside. The moment you take that paycheck, you are employed. You got to be stronger than that is what inside control. What do you think about Robert Kiyosaki? Let us know in the comments. If you like to watch more of this type of content, subscribe to our channel Motivation Mint and hit the ring bell notification button. See you soon.